Let's go.
Liz, you've been involved in the Guatemala Stove Project for a number of years now, but you bring something special to the project because you have a real appreciation and knowledge of Latin America, so Central America, and your skills as an interpreter are. I mean, sometimes it would be quite difficult to do what the volunteers do without having your help. After going there and spending time with the people in Guatemala, are you still as passionate? Are you more passionate?
Yes, I think every time I come back, I'm more passionate about it and more able to see the ways that our efforts work. And when I love taking photographs, and when I come home, I look at my photographs and I see the women and I appreciate the work and the hard lives that they have, and it makes me want to go back and help more in the same way. But I also see other opportunities and other ways that we could be helping as well if we had more funding, more volunteers. So yeah, no, the appreciation for the country grows every time I go.
Really? Is it a place that you'd like to spend more time?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would love to be able to spend a month or two at a time and get to know the country more for the different regions, the different types of cultures and different vegetation and agriculture. But definitely, I could spend more time in different areas, doing teaching, or just sharing my skills as a woman and an educated woman with other women who don't really get a chance to meet with other women from other countries and other places. And I think that's something that I would really enjoy doing, is taking groups of women to Guatemala to share and just get to know how women in other countries live.
I know that you've been working really hard on a CETA proposal, and can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Well, if we get our funding from CETA, it would allow us to do more than just build stoves. I mean, building a stove is a really big thing in a woman's life, but we could also supplement that and provide some nutritional education for the women, education on how to use the stove to improve sanitation and hygiene for their family. If we also get some extra funding from CETA, we could do a food security program, help the communities start up small gardens for the families, and provide some support for an agricultural technician who could go into the community and teach the people how to improve their crop production, so that in times of famine, or when the crops are failing, they can learn to use backup crops or supplies of food that they can put aside. So there's an awful lot that can be done, as well as building a stove, if we can get some government funding. So we're very hopeful that this project will go through and we can support a very needy area of Guatemala.
Sounds to me like education is key.
It is, and when we talk about sustainability and ways that our efforts and our projects will continue after we have left, I think the main key is teaching people how to develop skills, because you can't take that away from a person who knows how to do something. Rather than just giving them a gift, if you give them an education and the knowledge, then they have something that they will always have that you can't take away from them.
Thank you very much, Liz. That's great.
You're welcome.
What did you feel when you first went?
How would I answer that? I guess I wasn't really surprised when I went to Guatemala on my first trip, because I had traveled before in Mexico, and traveled through different regions of Mexico. So I had seen poverty before. I hadn't seen behind the doors and behind the walls in a lot of the places. So I did see some things that were new to me. But I'd also taught in native Aboriginal communities in Canada. And so I really wasn't surprised when I saw impoverished living conditions, where people live without the benefits of a lot of electricity and running water in the communities where I taught in northwestern Ontario. There were no there was no indoor plumbing for a large number of the population. They would haul water from the lake for washing and cooking, and they used outhouses and latrines very much like their indigenous populations in other countries. So I can't say I was very surprised, but actually spending more time in the community, that was really interesting for me when I went to Guatemala, to actually spend a day behind the walls in someone's house and see how they lived.
So because of your influence with Aborigines in Canada and the Aborigines in Guatemala, how do you feel about a bit of the how they're being taken advantage of a bit by the corporate and sort of our Western influences of society on them?
I don't think that's something that can be avoided. I think that's something that's happening worldwide. The influence of Western culture is very, very strong, and I don't think you can stop it. What you can do, or how we can help, is help the people understand the value of their own culture and help them develop ways to preserve and appreciate that culture, as well as accepting and adapting to the best of Western culture without taking on all of the vices that go with it and destroying their own culture. That to me would be a real crime if people gave up the strength and beauty of their own language and their traditional practices, if they gave up those things in favor of the materialism of Western culture. I think that would be a real shame. But what I like to see is when Indigenous communities and groups continue to preserve their culture and make that a strength in their primary education in schools, if the children are taught in their native language, and if the cultural practices are appreciated in the education system. I think that's very important.
Okay, thank you.
That's great, thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
really, you should be at the Safe Passage School teaching English. Really.
I would love to go and spend.
Yeah, I have a card from a girl who, they do adult literacy, and then they have this micro business, making the jewelry, and Mark and I went there and we bought some jewelry, and I talked to the girl, and the girl who's running that program said, come back and teach English, you know. And then I was thinking of you right away, like, you can go there for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And because you already speak.
Well, that was before I got involved in the Guatemala Stove Project, that was something I thought I would do, is go and teach English in a Latin American country. I didn't know where or when, but.
But this at the dump, the impact that teaching those women. So first they're helping the kids, the older kids, and then they realize that the older kids can't go to school, they can't do anything because they have to take care of the younger kids, and then they have this Garderia, this program that we were working in. But then the mothers who are just using their thumbprint, right? They've never been to school, their parents worked in the dump and their parents worked in the dump. And then they say, well, my kids now are learning, because they were never allowed to go to school before. Zone 3 were like the untouchables, right? And now they could go to school because people from the Western world, they're coming help, but they're also giving financial support. They get support from Rotary clubs, from from individuals who give $50. I mean, if you go on their website, you can pay $5 and buy one book if you want, And so now they get uniforms, they get to go to school, their school's fees are paid, they get fed every single day. And where we were in the Garderia, the kids are getting fed. So now the parents, the mothers are saying, I want to learn how to write my name. And now you sit there. We went in there, and a volunteer sits with a woman, and they learn. And the first women have just graduated from high school, and so now they're working on this. They have this business,
You should be taping her.
Not only do they have this business, but the business has a store there. They're selling consignment in other stores. We could get a box of jewelry from them, like we could get a thing and have and have a thing here and sell it for them here, which I think I would really like to do. And they're learning business practices. I'm saying this because, you know, we're going to do this microfinance thing. They're a perfect example, but learning English is really important. They said everybody at Safe Passage, even the little kids that we were working with, learn English because tourism is the way to the future. I mean, they have a long way to go in Guatemala City, but in Antigua, you can see how tourism is really...
Oh, yeah, you can get jobs in restaurants, in hotels. You can
tours. I mean, it's a UNESCO heritage site. Like, you know, there is stuff. Yeah. So they need English teachers, but you need to be able to speak Spanish. You are the perfect. You're educated. You're a teacher. You speak Spanish.
Self-sufficient
and
too, so I can go. You know what I mean?
Very little money to go there. My only suggestion is get your hair cut really short so you don't get lice. Because one day we're on that volunteer bus, and we're on the volunteer bus one day coming home, and the girls were all those young girls, they all had that long hair. They're all checking their hair. Do you have it? Like, what did you do when you got it? You know, like, and I think a lot of those girls, they have their degree already. Some of them are teachers or are going back to go into teacher training. I mean, I say girls, there were guys there too. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys was a guy who was adopted from Guatemala. Young guy, the big guy.
A lot of kids.
Yeah, they were. And so he's back now, was working with the kids. He was really great with them, like just coming for a month or 2 months.
Yeah.
And some people, the girl who was managing that project, the jewelry project, she said she came for a month and she stayed 2 years. So,
Safe Passages is where that young woman was killed, wasn't it?
Yes,
The one
Henley.
Well, she just
In a
died in
chicken
a
bus.
random chicken bus accident.
Yeah.
Her bus was hit by,
another.
or her
vehicle.
van was hit by a chicken bus. Like, she didn't even take the chicken buses
No.
because
No.
she was worried
Yeah.
about them,
Yeah,
and
but
it ended up
Yeah,
being
but
her
she is
demise.
from Maine, and Maine is where the main office for Safe Passage is now. And they do an amazing job. But you can...
They pulled together since she... And
Oh,
keep
it's
it going.
kept going, absolutely. And you can go, they do groups of people, you know, like 8 to 12 people. You can go, you pay $595, and they arrange all your food, and they give you a place to stay. And during your days, you go there and you get to see each place, and you go and volunteer and do stuff that's there, you know. And I think they encourage you to raise some money for them too. I mean, they need that, right?
Yeah,
Those children. But you can sponsor one kid for $50, and that pays their, you know, their school fees and their book for $50 for a month.
Yeah.
And but I think that those kids couldn't go to school before. Now they have a computer lab, and they have a library, and they get shoes and they get fed, and you can buy a pair of shoes online. You can I don't know, I think it's $10 for them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, you know, it spells it out what your
Right.
money can buy for these kids. So I love this project, the stove project, but I think that Safe Passage, did you have that feeling too? Like, it's just so amazing.
Safe Passage would be a good one to go and do for like 6 months or something.
Yeah, and I seriously, like, if my stomach could just hold in, but I couldn't even, like, you know, they just rinse the food out, pour out, like Mark and I were like, did you rinse the food, like the snacks out, like we wash the dishes, and you're washing in that cold, disgusting dirty water, and then we give it back to them, and we're watching, and they just put it right back on the shelf, and they're serving your lunch in it the next day. Well, for me,
You gotta be careful.
I have to be really careful. Mark was fine.
I was fine.
She
too.
got a cold, and she was fine.
I didn't even get a cold.
Yeah, you didn't get anything but me. I was just like,
And
but
I
like
was,
you said,
I
it
ate
could
like
happen.
Atitlan fish, I think.
Yeah, fish from the, but you know,
I don't know.
anyway, to see those little faces, those little, you know,
Yeah.
dirty kids, and, you know, and I combed their hair, like after snack in that one grade 3 class, after they sleep, then you get them out and you put the little girls, you comb all their hair and put them in little pigtails and stuff. That Guatemalan teacher was trying to tell me to put the girls' hair in French braid. And I didn't know what she was saying. And then I had to go and get some guy outside. And turned out he was the clinical psychologist. And he comes in. I said, can you tell her, like, I had boys. I don't know how to do a French braid. And
I'm a girl,
he said,
I don't know how to do it.
he said, I said, what's she saying to me? And he said, she's laughing at you. And then I put this little girl's pigtails in, but I guess one was up here. I had boys.
Yeah.
And she made me take it out. The girl's hair was filthy dirt. Like, they're so dirty, you just want to shower them. I should ask Mark.
Well, the shower program was starting up.
Well,
soon.
but they told me no there, and they told Mark and I two different things. But Mark was going to start showering the kids, and they said she could. So I left, but I'd be curious to see if she actually did
Yeah.
that. Yeah. But there's, you should go on that website, safepassage.org.
Okay.
And
'Cause,
see
I'd like
yourself
to go
there.
down with my daughter when she's finished her program and get some money saved, or just she would enjoy that kind of.
Yeah, and you know, it's those young people that go down there. It gives them experience, not only
Oh,
for their
yeah.
resume too, but in life, but also for their resume, like that they've done something to
resume.
matter. I know, but it does matter,
Helps you get
Sarah.
started.
It does.
Don't do it for a resume.
No, but it
but
matters.
It's
Yeah.
it's part of your experience in life.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah,
who you are,
that's all
right?
it
It's
is.
why am I only coming to this when I'm 52? Like, what is wrong with me? I want to be like Sarah's age.
Lived in a bubble. It
No,
happens.
it wasn't.
We're
I
all in
know,
the
I had
bubble until it
children.
bursts.
Yeah.
I had got children. I did what I was supposed to do, right? Have kids.
Yeah,
And
it
get that-
doesn't. A lot of people think that means that you have to stop living, and they do, and you don't.
Well, we didn't stop living, but when you have children, you have responsibilities.
You stop living for
They
yourself,
have to go
too.
to school.
Yeah.
Just wait until you're a mother.
I
Yeah.
love your shoes. I can't believe you're wearing that kind of footwear.